My name is Josh Lindstrom. I'm a retired U.S. Army Green Beret. I just want to take a couple minutes and tell you guys about my experience with Dr. Calapai and stem cell treatment. In 2012, on my fifth deployment, I was injured when the vehicle I was riding in struck a large homemade explosive. After that event, I started experiencing symptoms immediately: headache, nausea, dizziness, cognitive impairments that eventually led to me being medically discharged from the military. I'd sought a lot of treatment through the military and the VA, and my experience was that I didn't just not get better, I got worse. So I was very lucky in pursuing some of the other medical treatments that were available to be in the right place in the right time for Dr. Calapai, who had donated 4 treatments to wounded veterans. I went up to New York to meet with Dr. Calapai and have the procedure performed. They did remove the stem cells from my pelvis and put them back in an IV, and they did basically a nasal drip, just dripped stem cells right back up into my nose. And the effects are, nothing short of miracle, miraculous, however you want to term it. Within a couple weeks, some of the major nerve pain issues that I'd had subsided to the point where I was able to run again, which I hadn't done in years. But really, the most important stuff was the cognitive benefits after my injury. I couldn't remember anything. I'd relied on my memory as a Green Beret to be able to multitask, and it's really fascinating to see what can happen to the brain. It's very delicate, and when it's not working, it affects every system in the body. And so my symptoms, it would take me another 10 minutes to describe all of them, but suffice to say, memory, mood, anxiety, depression, energy, just all the things that make a person had stopped functioning. Until about, it took some time for the stem cells to kick in. It was a couple weeks. I started running. A month or two later, I started just generally feeling like I had more energy. And about 6 months later was when I started to be able to remember people's names again in conversation, or remember the topic of conversation, which was something that had been really difficult. I would just lose my train of thought. Now I'm finishing my bachelor's degree this year with straight A's. The anxiety, depression, mood stuff has all been greatly improved, but most importantly is my memory, my cognitive function. The actual complete package has come back, which I never thought that it was possible, and I credit a good 90% of that to the stem cell treatment. And the other 10% is just eating exactly right. I can't put anything in my body that doesn't belong there. I don't have that leeway that I had before I was injured, so I just eat a perfect diet. And this stem cell treatment, I can only recommend it as strongly as somebody who's not a doctor, but from my experience, from where I was to now, if I could have had something at the beginning, or if I have any friends that are experiencing, and there's 300,000, closer to 400,000 traumatic brain injuries, if I could give this to everybody, I'd actually contemplated renting a boat and driving into international waters to give this to people, because it's had the most impact on my injury out of all I'm literally hundreds or thousands now probably of doctor's appointments and inpatient stays and therapies and all the modalities that I've experienced and put effort into. This was, number one, the easiest, and number two, one of the most effective. So if this is something that you're experiencing or somebody else is experiencing, I can recommend it highly as being extremely non-invasive, and extremely effective.